Well, hello there, everybody. Darts here, watching The Watchers. 12 hours ago, President Bush, Sr., apparently passed away. And as a tribute, I thought we would take a little trip down memory lane for many of us in the truther community. This little clip here is probably what goes down goes down as some of the most, could we say, damning words about the New World Order. Well, we'll talk about that. About, basically him going on about New World Order after the first Gulf War, and then his son just so happens to, lead the, he's only a puppet, obviously, but publicly leading the second Gulf War was George Bush Sr.'s son, George Bush Jr., who was a complete and utter idiot, it seemed. I mean, at least George Bush Sr. came across with some intelligence, but it was almost as if George Bush Jr. was paid to be an idiot. But anyway, let's take a little look at that most memorable clip for us in the truther community from George W. Bush talking about the New World Order just after he heroically him leading his country and in the Gulf War and saving Kuwait. This is what he has to say afterwards. Let's have a little listen. America, America, America.
Tonight, as our troops begin to come home, let us recognize that the hard work of freedom still calls us forward. We've learned the hard lessons of history.
Volume.
The victory over Iraq was not waged as a war to end all wars. Even the New World Order cannot guarantee an era
Blah, 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 New World Order.
peace, but enduring peace must be our mission. Our success in the Gulf will shape not only the New World Order we seek, but our mission here at home. In the war just ended, there were clear-cut objectives, timetables, and above all, an overriding imperative to achieve results. We must bring that same sense of self-discipline, that same sense of urgency to the way we meet challenges here at home.
Yeah, let's just have a little recap there, real quickly, of what he was saying.
And above all, an overriding imperative to achieve results. We must bring that same sense of self-discipline, that same sense of urgency to the way we meet challenges here at home.
So, it's interesting, this is very, very poignant, this speech here, because it sets us up for 9/11 and then his son leading the war, the second war in Iraq, which was basically the pillaging and control over the Middle East. Let's not go off on a tangent, but it's so corrupt, it's beyond a joke. Weapons of mass destruction and all this sort of rubbish to get the public behind it. So 9/11, obviously, most of the American public in uproar, really supporting that, re-invasion of Iraq. Yeah, and then the support in England or Britain wasn't very high until 7/7, which is probably one of the points where I started cottoning on to these events and these very seemingly, interesting events. I can't say too much because this video will probably get blocked, as all videos where I talk about terrorist attacks and stuff like that, and inconsistencies or interesting coincidences like, looking like controlled explosions or people being interviewed smiling away, or let me just think without getting my video blocked. How can I say this? train exercise in the same day involving the same people. And so they don't know, the actual emergency services don't know how to respond. But I'll do a separate 7/7 video. I've already mentioned it several times, but that's probably, for me, one of the most blatant controlled operations that I've probably ever seen. That's another tangent. But anyway, long story short, President Bush Sr. started this war on terror, the never-ending war on terror. And as he speaks here, talking about how he got challenges, to fight at home, what he's talking about is the terrorism. The term terrorists, the war on terror obviously wasn't coined until the Second Gulf War, the never-ending war on terror, which has turned into a war on the people, the New World Order. And I find it very interesting that President Bush Sr., one of the bloodline of the 13, he passes away just as this Article 13 kicks off, getting momentum. And basically, I'll do a separate video on this. Basically, we're talking about the ultimate censorship here of the internet, Article 13, which is what's needed for a New World Order. There can't be anybody like me making videos pointing out inconsistencies and saying psyop this, psyop that, and not going along with the mainstream story. No. Article 13 and Article 11 is a way for them to actually finally have the control they want over what we see and what we talk about on the internet. So that's directly connected to President Bush Sr., what he's talking about here. These are the challenges that we face. The war on terror, the war against the people. But there you go. Probably going to get blocked this video, so I don't want to waste my time speaking too much about this. But I just found it interesting. There you go. That's my thoughts on President Bush Sr. and his passing. Apparent passing. Well, R.I.P.